It's a lot more fun to stay up late for these Brewer West Coast games when they have great team wins like that one yesterday. Hope you stayed up for it. If not, we've got you covered. You're Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen of the day. I'm Dominic Cotroneo, bringing you all the news and nuggets you need to know with your only daily podcast dedicated to your Milwaukee Brewers. I'm the statistician for Valley Sports Wisconsin, watching just about every single game, bringing you all the news, all the notes, all the stats. StatCast is a big part of today's episode as well. What a win. Brewers win 4-1 yesterday. They have evened the series against the Padres and go for the win today at 3:10 Central Time in a great matchup coming with Aaron Ashby against Yu Darvish today. But this is a lot about yesterday before we preview today and what we're learning about the team, as it's going to be a very different looking team moving forward. We will start with the injury news, we'll get into the recap, and then look ahead to today. But the injury news, more bad news for the Brewers ahead of yesterday's game. The fact is Hunter Renfro has a grade 1 hamstring strain, and he will not be available for the next 10 days minimum. He has been placed on the 10-day IL. The Brewers have recalled Mark Mathias, added him to the 40-man roster in order to do so. Mathias, you may recall, was briefly with the team in 2020 during the COVID year, was set to return to be the utility man ahead of the 2021 season, but then tears his labrum in his throwing shoulder in spring training. So he missed all of 2021. He was outrighted last year and put back on the roster to make his appearance this week with the Brewers. So Hunter Renfro is going to be out for a little bit of time. They're still determining a timetable. It could be 10 days, could be 14 days, could be even longer than that too. But a huge loss given how hard he had been hitting the ball lately, seeing it well, hitting it all over the place. His opposite field numbers this season have been superb given the last couple of ballparks we've talked about before on this podcast. The fact that the last couple of ballparks he's played in didn't really beg a right-handed hitter to hit the opposite way between San Diego and Fenway, and the majority, Tropicana's Tropicana. But for Hunter Renfro to be out at the time he is. He even mentioned in the clubhouse yesterday too, saying it just stinks and that I was seeing it really well, but that's baseball. We'll live and move on. And the most important thing at the end of the day is health at the end of the season, not here in May. And I know it feels like the Brewers are really rolling with the punches right now when it goes to health and a lot of injuries. And look, this is a normal thing to happen in baseball. I know it feels like a lot right now, but most other teams are going to deal with injuries all season long. And quite frankly, last season, aside from, Yelich had his back issues in the early part of the season, Colton Wong had his oblique issues in the early part of the season, and Lorenzo Cain had 2 separate stints with leg issues. Aside from those guys and Avi here and there with his hammy, it was a very healthy season last season, all things considered for the Brew Crew. COVID aside, when they had that outbreak in July, but it was a very, very healthy season for the crew. You had Adames at the end of the year with his quad. You had Daniel Vogelbach with his hamstring. When you look at it from an exterior, from a wider scope, you realize just how many injuries the Brewers had last year. And right now, it just feels like they're all happening at once. So let it go through. Make this an opportunity for the Brewers to learn what they're made of. And what you're going to see is some funky lineups like we saw yesterday against a left-handed pitcher. With Mike Brosseau still on the roster for now, until Willie Adams comes back, you would figure maybe Mathias gets sent down instead of Brosseau, given how well he's been playing. Let's talk about Willie Adams now as well. Adams, it was announced that he will not be ready for the St. Louis series coming up tomorrow, so that's news because tomorrow is the first day that he is eligible to come off the injured list. And the Brewers are making clear, look, we want to make sure he's 100% ready. He will not be appearing in the Cardinals series, which now you look ahead to Monday's doubleheader against the Cubs. And that's on Memorial Day. Maybe he returns for that. That'll be a full 2 weeks since he got injured last Sunday, not this previous Sunday, but last Sunday. So it'll be a full 2 weeks of recovery for him. Maybe that's what gets him back into the lineup, and we will sit back and reassess how the Brewers do without him, because he is, as the Brewers go, Willie Adams goes and vice versa. It's Willie Adams who carries his team. I mean, we had Willie Adams cam yesterday with the Bell camera yesterday in Valley Sports, Wisconsin. He is still bringing energy to that dugout. He is still having a good time with the rally bell and the happy hour bell that they have down there at the end of the dugout. We'd love to see him on the field, but let's make sure he's 100% moving forward as the dog days of summer are approaching in what will be a very entertaining NL Central race. So those are the two main updates from the injury front of things for the Brewers. As we mentioned the other day, Freddie Peralta, he's going to be out for an extended period of time. Again, Josh Hader is currently not with the team on the family emergency list right now. We wish him and his wife, Maria, all the best, as Maria is having complications with pregnancy right now. Their first child is on the way, so we wish them good health moving forward. And then you also are missing Jandel Gustave right now. You on top of the Freddie Peralta missing and Jake Cousins being missing, so bullpen's a little thin right now too, on top of Hader's absence while he's dealing with the family matters. So winning games against top teams like the Padres really, really feels good with the way they won it yesterday. 4-1, pitching, defense, and just enough offense from the Brew Crew. Let's get into the recap now, but before we do that, I want to remind you that LinkedIn is one of our favorite partners. I use LinkedIn myself. Look, spring is here. It's all about growth, and personally and professionally, you can help your small business grow with LinkedIn Jobs. They're here to make it easier to find the people you actually want to talk to faster than ever before and for free. That's right. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs, and that'll reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. LinkedIn's got everything you could ever want when you're looking for jobs. I have used LinkedIn personally, whether it be in the minor leagues, whether it be in golf jobs, whatever it may be. You can find the clientele that you want to find on LinkedIn. You can add your job with the purple hashtag hiring frame, and that's on your LinkedIn profile, and it'll help spread the word that you are hiring so your network can help you find the right people in order to bring onto your team. Simple tools like screening questions, they make it easy to focus on the right candidates, and it's just the right amount of skills and experience so you can quickly find and prioritize who you want to interview and who you want to hire. And that's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. So we got a great offer for you. They help you find the candidates you want to talk to, and they do it faster. Right now, nearly 40 million job seekers are visiting LinkedIn every single week, and they want to help you get your job in front of the right people. Go to linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. Again, linkedin.com/lockedonmlb to post your job for free. Again, linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. Terms and conditions apply. 4-1, the Brewers win last night. Let's comb through this box score here and have some fun with this. First of all, Corbin Burnes, his 7th quality start in 9 starts this season. He goes 6 innings, gets the win, 5 hits, 1 run it was earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And he allowed a run in the first inning, then he was nails from there in. He allowed a single in the second inning, then really started slamming the door shut after that. He wouldn't allow another single until his final frames in the 5th and 6th inning. He was tremendous. Even though it got off to a slow start, it was the first time all season that Corbin Burnes had allowed a run not only in the first inning, but in the first 3 innings this year. And I think he's most excited about the fact that he finally got some run support. It was tied for the second highest amount of runs scored during Corbin's innings this season. Brewers scoring 4 runs for him. He gets his 2nd victory of the year. He was going up against Blake Snell, and he was feeling it early in only his 2nd start of the season. He worked into the 6th inning, got 7 Ks, had 2 walks, 3 earned runs, 3 hits as well for the lefty Snell, but he is now 0-2. He didn't have a walk until that final inning of work, and it clearly, in the last 2 innings of work, I should say, because the Brewers had no answer for him the first 4 innings until Mike Brosseau stepped to the plate in the 5th inning, and what a shot it was off of Blake Snell, as, literally in the commercial break between innings leading into that top of the 5th inning, I looked to Vinny Rottino in the studio saying, someone's going to hit one off the Western Supply building. Someone's going to do it. It's going to be Brosseau. It's going to be Hira. They're due. 2nd time through the order. They've seen him a couple times now. And, well, it was Mike Brosseau. He smashes one 104 miles an hour off the bat to left field on the 7th pitch of the at-bat, mind you, for that home run off of Snell. So that ties the game at 1. Brewers would hold that score until the 6th inning when the big swing of the day came from Tyrone Taylor. And this leads to the conversation about Tyrone Taylor, and that I don't know if proud is the right word, but it feels like for a lot of Brewers fans, watching Tyrone Taylor's development as a top prospect, slowly finding his way into the big leagues, only played 15 games in 2019, was on the roster in the 2020 COVID year, didn't perform that great. Last year was one of the best pinch hitters and performed in a pinch for the Brewers, given their outfield was a little crowded last year with Kane still in center, and then Tyrone had to fill in for him after injury. Avi in right, Jackie Bradley Jr., Christian Yelich, very busy. And again, it seemed like this was going to be the year that Tyrone Taylor was going to finally take the reins, but no. They not only acquired Hunter Renfro, they also acquired Andrew McCutchen. So now you're looking at Tyrone Taylor saying, well, how is he going to get at-bats? How is he going to fit into this equation? And not just because of injuries is he fitting in. He's fitting in because of what he is doing with the bat right now. He's currently hitting .242, but that's not the story. Story is that he's got 4 homers now, 3 of them in the last week. He's been hitting the ball hard, hitting the ball all over the place. Listen to his last 5 games, including last night. He has 3 multi-hit games, 8 hits total, a total of 20 at-bats, 8 hits, 20 at-bats in his last 5 games. He's got 3 homers. He's got 1, 2, 3, that's 5, 7, 10 runs batted in over this stretch. And even better yet, when it comes to the strikeouts over these last 5 games, he's only struck out twice in the last 20 at-bats. He is seeing the ball like a beach ball right now. And yes, that is a pun intended, given the beach ball that was on the field yesterday. And it's San Diego series. It makes sense. The point with Tyrone is that when you give somebody an opportunity in the big leagues, all you want to do is just see them perform admirably. You want to see them prove that they're worthy of the time. See them prove that, hey, there's a reason to keep giving them a chance. There's a reason that we're going to keep going back to this well. And here in the month of May, not only has he really turned it on and found what he needs to do in the big leagues, he is doing it while being presented an opportunity to be an everyday player. And in my opinion, and I think in a lot of other opinions too now in the Brewers front office will be sharing this, is that Tyrone's earned it. What else does he have to prove? A 3-run homer off Craig Stammen, the difference of the game in yesterday's contest. What else does Tyrone have to do? And I know Lorenzo Cain is a great, great player. I say this every time I talk about Cain. But the point is, it's time. It is time for Tyrone to be the everyday center fielder. However, that won't be the case because Hunter Renfro is on the injured list. So the way it's going to work out is Tyrone's going to be filling in right field while Cain's going to be playing in center field. And maybe this will help Lorenzo Cain feel a little more comfortable, get some quality ABs, and he did have a knock in yesterday's game. But for Cain, with the bat, it hasn't been great. With the glove, it has been great. He's still an above-average defender, and that's very, very admirable for a guy at his age getting it done with the glove. And that's still a great defensive outfield option for you in the final 2-3 innings after Tyrone Taylor's ABs are done for the day. That's something we may see a lot more of in the second half for Lorenzo Cain and Tyrone Taylor when Hunter Renfro returns from the injured list, however long that may be. But here in the month of May, Tyrone is hitting .276. All 4 of his home runs have come in May. He's got an .850 OPS in this month, 16 hits in 58 at-bats. What else does he need to do? He's the everyday player now, whether it be center fielder or right field, especially with Hunter Renfro out. And when Renfro returns, I believe Tyrone should be playing every day. He has earned it, and you're proud of him for doing it, and doing it the long way round. Super happy for the California kid. He talked to Sophie a minute after the game. His family was in attendance. We mentioned he's from Torrance, which is up in the LA area, driving down to come see him in San Diego. Just awesome. Absolutely awesome stuff for Tyrone Taylor. You couldn't be more happy for him. Let's talk about another guy we're really, really happy about. And I've already got an In the Hopper episode about this guy. Let's just dive into Trevor Gott right now, because what he is doing for the Brewers very quietly in high leverage situations continues to impress me, given He was awful in high leverage situations in the COVID-shortened year in 2020. He was pretty good at it in 2019, even with the juice baseball. But this year, he has been all over these high leverage situations. Doesn't matter what inning he's pitching in, he's going to give you a quality outing. So he gets another huge outing in yesterday's win. For his line, it goes like this. Trying to pull up the box score, finding the right tab for it here. But his line goes 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. He only needed 18 pitches, pitching on back-to-back days. So 16 pitches on Monday and then just 18 pitches on Tuesday. He gets his 5th hold of the season. Trevor Gott's ERA is 2.25. I continue to marvel at the fact that he does not allow walks. And his usage in this game, his pitch usage that is, I thought was very interesting. We know about the cutter and we know about how talented he is with the velocity with that, but he mixed in a lot more sinkers than usual in this game. In fact, when it comes to pitches for strikes, so 10 strikes out of the 18 pitches, only 3 strikes on the cutter, 4 of them on the sinker on 5 total sinkers thrown. Didn't really need the curveball today. The sinker was more used as a chase pitch. He actually got a swing and miss on his sinker. It was his only swing and miss on his strikeout. The dude, he really knows how to mix things up, especially going back-to-back. We saw a few more breaking balls in Monday's game as opposed to Tuesday's game. It's always tough to face an opponent back-to-back days and an opponent that knows you well. Remember, he was pitching for the Giants in 2019 and 2020, so they have seen plenty of Trevor Gott, and he figured out a way to make things work. He gets a hold, and what a find. Kudos to the entire Brewers scouting staff and also to the folks in the pitching lab, Chris Hook, and so forth, of identifying a guy that was being underutilized for what he was asked to do in San Francisco. His slider wasn't a pitch that was effective. The cutter had disappeared in 2020. They bring it back here in 2022, and wow. Just wow. Especially in Josh Hader's absence, it really shows up. Other bullpen kudos. I'll get to Devin Williams in a second, but how about the double play turned by Hobie Milner in this one? If you haven't seen it, it's on my Twitter feed, @Dom_Catronio. So Milner on a little chopper back to the mound. The first 2 guys get on, and now you're thinking, oh man, here we go again. Hobie Milner got to be big for the moment in the 7th inning with the Brewers leading by 3. And he gets his little chopper by Trent Grisham. Mind you, Trent Grisham, still an elite sprinter. He reached 29.9 feet per second. That's practically elite by standards of 4.3 timed first base. Also elite in baseball standards. Hobie makes the hardest double play turn for any pitcher to do as a PFP. Charging forward to his left, and remember, he's left-handed, so he has to spin a full 180 around with his weight going away from second base, throws off-balance sidearm to second perfectly to Luis Urias, who makes an equally great play, mind you, on the exchange and on the throw to first to get Grisham by a step to turn the double play in what may go down as the biggest double play of the year. Something about San Diego that the Brewers make great defensive plays. Remember last year, Billy McKinney, the great diving catch, saving extra bases off of Jurickson Profar's bat. That was awesome, and now you got this double play from Hobie Milner, and the Brewers get out of that 7th inning, and then from then on, it looked like the game was over. Gott slams the door in the 8th, and Devin Williams, 2 more strikeouts, both on the fastball, mind you, in the 9th inning, to get the save for Devin Williams. For Devin, that's his 3rd save of the year. Goes 1, 2, 3, pitching on back-to-back days, 12 pitches, 8 strikes. That's the Devin Williams that is deadly. That is the Devin Williams that you cannot have any answer for, especially when the fastball's for strikes. So over his last 5 outings for Devin Williams, he's got now a total of 12 strikeouts. 7 of them have been on fastballs and only 5 on changeups. When he's mixing it up like that, how do you respond to that? Good freaking luck. Wow. What a team win for the Brewers in this one. Again, Tyrone Taylor, the 3-run homer. Mike Brosseau, the solo homer, got things going for the crew. Willie Adams fixed the bell in the dugout, and everything worked out. Brosseau went 2 for 3, by the way, to go with that home run. He had the only multi-hit game for the Brew crew. As for the Padres, they got multi-hit games from Manny Machado and Eric Hosmer, but yet they end up with the L. So the Brewers are 27-16. The Padres are 28-15, and the series will be decided today at 3:10. I want to talk about the series today and look ahead to the rest of this road trip. Before we do that, I want to take a quick break. Great pitching matchup today. Aaron Ashby getting the ball against Yu Darvish. This is kind of a moment for Aaron Ashby to grow up, and who, oh, by the way, happy belated birthday to Aaron. He turned 24 yesterday, and he gets the start opposite a former Cy Young winner. This year, Aaron is 0-3, a 3.49 ERA. He gets the start. It will be only his 8th big league start in his career, and he's going up against a fantastic pitcher, but the Brewers have seen a lot of Yu Darvish over the years, and in case you're wondering, Aaron Ashby does have one win as a starter in his career. That came last year in August against the Twins. He went 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs against Minnesota. So for him going against the Padres and a team that really hasn't seen him and doesn't know a whole lot about him, I mean, the key for him is throwing strikes. If he can get sliders, if he can get that changeup working, he's going to be unstoppable again. He doesn't need to blow them away with strikeouts because, as we saw in the first couple of innings, the Padres have a knack for contact. I mean, Burnes only had 6 strikeouts in this game yesterday, working 6 innings. So the fact that Ashby can trust his stuff against this team, Burnes only had 5 strikeouts, but for Ashby, the key is going to be strikes. And that sounds silly, and it sounds cliche, and it sounds basic, but it's the truth. For Ashby, when he is throwing strikes and when he is not walking a million guys, that is when he is at his most effective. And it sounds so simple, but it's true. You look at his last couple of outings. Against the Nationals, 1 perfect inning with a strikeout. Against the Marlins, 4 nearly perfect innings with 8 strikeouts. Then you look against the Reds in relief. He got a hold, 2 1/3 innings, 3 strikeouts, 0 walks. The only times he has allowed runs this year, he has walked batters. Granted, the one against Philadelphia was odd. He was coming in late. He gave up 3 runs, also had 4 strikeouts in that game, but 5 hits. But his biggest clunkers, 4 walks against the Braves in that start. He had 5 walks against the Pirates, had a no decision in that game, but only allowed 1 run, luckily, because of that. He threw 85 pitches working into the 6th. Ashby can give you a little bit of length. I would expect the number to be right around that 80 to 90 pitch total, given he is going to start building up to be a permanent part of this rotation while Freddie Peralta is out. I'm intrigued because Ashby's going to, kind of like Tyrone Taylor with the offensive side of things and with the defensive side of things, trying to take hold of center field or right field. Aaron Ashby is going to try to prove, like, hey, even when Freddie Peralta comes back, you should be keeping me in the rotation. So good luck to him today. Up against Yu Darvish this year, he is 4-1, a 3.91 ERA, making his 9th start of the year. Strikeouts are a little down for him this season. He's only averaging 7 strikeouts per 9 innings, whereas last year he was nearly 11. He's been 11 for pretty much his entire career. Walks are still elite, only 11 walks in 46 innings, only 4 homers allowed. Yu Darvish's last start came against the Phillies on the road. It'll be his first start at home since May 6th. But he's coming off of a great start. 7 shutout innings against the Phils. Got the win, his 4th of the year, through 108 pitches, which was a season high for him. 5 strikeouts and no walks for Yu Darvish. So a tall task for the 35-year-old against 24-year-old for the Brewer Crew as they get ready to go today at 3:20. Looking ahead, again, no Willie Adams for the St. Louis series, but looking ahead to the probables for that series starting tomorrow in St. Louis, it'll be Eric Lauer getting the start against Adam Wainwright on tomorrow. Friday is TBD for the Cardinals. You would expect maybe it's Matthew Liberatore against Brandon Woodruff for the Brewers. Saturday will be Adrian Hauser for Milwaukee, TBD as well for St. Louis. And then Sunday is TBD on both sides of things. Sunday perhaps could be a Corbin Burnes day. Maybe they call somebody up, but then you got to remember you have the doubleheader on Monday against the Cubs. And in that doubleheader, you're allowed to call up a 27th man. And maybe they use it for a pitcher. We expect Willie Adams to be back for that, so I don't expect them to be using a position player on that. But by Monday, remember, Monday is the first day that the bullpen and the pitching staff as a whole has to be 13 players. You can't have more than 13 pitchers on your roster. So when it comes to figuring out their bullpen roles, you don't know if Josh Hader will be back by then. We know that the bullpen, for sure, guys, assuming Hader is in it, you've got Hader, Williams, Boxberger, Gott, Suter for 5 right there, and then Ashby's now in the starting rotation, so that's 10 pitchers right there. So the final 3 spots between Perdomo, Milner. When Gustave comes back, what do you do with him? I don't think Trevor Kelly's going to be sticking around, but these are the decisions looming right now for the Brewers ahead of Monday's doubleheader and when the pitching staff goes down to 13. So a lot to figure out these next few days. Again, first pitch today is at 3:10 Central Time on Bally Sports Wisconsin. You can catch all the action there. You can hear our amazing stats crew on there as well. I know the guy that runs it, and Jeff Levering and Tim Dillard on the call, Sophia Mittert in the dugout. And then you got our amazing crew out there in San Diego as well. Really slumming it up in San Diego as we deal with all this weather and, weird spring weather right now with it being rainy and cloudy and weird the last couple of days. But nonetheless, I'm not mad that they're in San Diego and I'm not. Not at all. No, not one bit. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Again, don't forget to subscribe. If you like the podcast, tell a friend about the podcast, leave a rating on the podcast, leave a review on the podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, social media, wherever you find us. Just let your friends know. Let's have some fun this season. We're about a quarter of the way in. The Brewers are a first-place team, and there's a lot of season to go. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep on swinging.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.